Vandeham Vandeham Shri Guru Shri.
Where's the glass, Prabhu?
Manjara Madhava and trying to like.
No, I mean, where is the glass?
Vandeham
No,
Shri Guru Vandeham Shri Guru Vandeham.
Where will be lecture? Here?
Yeah.
Because everybody left, so you will put it here.
Everybody's left.
But I would like to listen.
Yeah.
Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhar ki jai. Vrndavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Today morning Srimad Bhagavatam class is on the verse number 1 to first canto, second chapter, verse number 30, given by Srila Prabhupada in Vrndavan, dated November 9, 1972.
Vedam sasajagre
Bhagavanatma
Mayaya Sadasadrupaya chaso Gunamaya Aguno Vivu Saivedam sasajagre Bhagavanatma Mayaya Sadasat Chaso Gunamaya Guno Vibho Sasevedam Sasajagre Bhagavanatma Mayaya Sadasadrupaya chaso Gunamaya Guno Vibho Saivedam Sasajagre Bhagavanatma Mayaya Sadasadrupaya chaso Gunamaya Guno Vibhu Sa that Eva certainly Idam Tasajya created Agre before Bhagavan
personality of Godhead
Atma Mayaya
by his personal potency Sat
Sat
the cause Asat the effect Rupaya by forms Sha and also the same Lord Gunamaya in the modes of material nature Aguna transcendental
Vibhu
the absolute
Absolute
Translation. In the beginning of the material creation, the Absolute Lord, in his own transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy.
Saivedam sasajagre Bhagavanatma Mayaya sadasat rupaya chaso guna maya aguno vibho. So, here is the information of creation. The creation is from a person, not from the impersonal feature of the Absolute Soul. Creation, there must be brain, otherwise how there is question of creation? We are part and parcel of Krishna. We have also creative power. So, as soon as there is question of creative power, there must be a brain behind the creation, and brain means a person. Creation cannot be possible from void or impersonal things. We have several times discussed this point, that the government, this word appears to be impersonal, but actually behind the government there is a person, the president or the king, like that. So, this creation, cosmic manifestation, is possible through the creative power of the Supreme Person. Therefore, God cannot be impersonal. Impersonal feature is one of the manifestation of God. God must be a person. This is the conclusion. Sa eva idam, this cosmic manifestation was created. In another place it is said, aham eva asam agre. Before creation, there was God, Krishna. And when this material creation will be finished, He will remain. Therefore, Krishna or God is not one of these created, material created things. That is admitted even by the staunchest impersonalist Shankaracharya, Narayana para abhaktyad, bhakta abhakta, this mahat-tattva from which this material cosmic manifestation is there, but Narayana para, Narayana is above. That means above this creation. Narayana or Krishna is not one of the product of this creation. Just like our existence, we are one of the products of this creation. So Narayana or Krishna is not one of the products of this material creation. Therefore, it is to be understood that Krishna's body is not material. But the Mayavadi philosophers, they think like that Krishna is God, but he has accepted a material body. This is Mayavadi philosophy. But how Krishna can accept a material body? Because he existed before the material creation. Another consideration is that even if he accepts a material body, that is not material for him. That is also spiritual. It appears to us as material, but that is spiritual. Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Sriyate. He has got multi energies, and because he is spirit, complete spirit, therefore his energies are also spiritual. Shakti Shaktimato Abheda. There cannot be any distinction between the powerful and the power. So here it is clearly said that Saividang Sasujjage Bhagavan Atmamayaya. Bhagavan created by his energy. It is not that Bhagavan is finished after this creation. The Mayavad philosophy is that everything is God, therefore there is no separate existence of God. That is impersonalism. But here it is said that Bhagavan Atma Mayaya, he created this cosmic manifestation by his energy. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishyat. His full energy, even it is taken away from him, is still he is full, he is complete. He is not exhausted. Sai Vedang Sasajjagri Bhagavan Atmamayam Sadasad Rupaya. The Maya is displayed, Maya means energy, that is displayed in two ways, material and spiritual. Material is asat and spiritual is sat. Asat means which does not exist permanently. Bhutta bhutta praliyate. It is created, again it is annihilated. Therefore, it is called sometimes asat. Asat means not false, but not permanent. So, this material creation is also manifestation of Krishna's energy, and there is another creation that is not creation, that is always existing, that is the spiritual world, Sanatana. Parastasmat tu bhava anya bhaktat bhaktat sanatana. That manifestation, that is internal potency. This is external potency. This material world is manifestation of the external potency of Krishna, whereas the spiritual world is the manifestation of his internal potency. Unfortunately, the modern advancement of education has no information what is that spiritual world. Here they have no information. They are concerned with this material world only. That is also not perfectly. But there is spiritual world. Jadgatyana nivartanti tadhama paramam mama. Krishna says there is another manifestation of his internal potency that is eternal, blissful and full of knowledge. Here in this material world means it is not eternal, not blissful and not full of knowledge. This is material. In the Vishnu Puran it is said, avidya karmasanga anya titya shaktirishat. This manifestation of energy is full of ignorance. The nature of this world is called darkness, tamasi ma, jyotirgama. So, sadasat rupaya chasu guna gunamai aguna. Krishna, when he is called aguna or nirguna, that means he is not affected by these material modes of nature, above material nature. We are affected, we living entities, we are affected by the material modes of nature, satagun, rajagun, tamagun. But Krishna is not affected. That is Krishna, difference between Krishna and ourselves. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is another instance when Arjuna asked Krishna. Krishna said, Imang vivassati yogam praptaman aham abhyam. Krishna said that, first of all, I narrated this yoga system of Bhagavad Gita to the sun god. So, in order to clear this matter, Arjuna inquired from him, my dear Krishna, we are born very recently. How is that you narrated this yoga system to the sun god? Arjuna, of course, knew everything, but in order to clear our doubts, he raised this question. And Krishna answered that you were also present at that time, but you have forgotten, I have not forgotten. So this is another proof that Krishna's body does not change. Krishna, when he comes, when he appears, he comes in his original spiritual body. Therefore, Krishna has warned that avajananti mang mudha. The Mayavadi philosophers who think that Krishna has accepted a material body, they are described as mudha. They have no sufficient knowledge. Parang bhava vajananta. They do not know what is the power behind Krishna. So, Krishna creates. Before creation, aham adihi devanam, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said. Devanam, first of all Brahma was created, then other great sages were created, then other demigods were created. But Krishna says, aham adihi devanam. Therefore he is not a created being of this material world. We have to consider in that way. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvang pravartate Vedanta sutta janmadasya jata. So Krishna is the origin of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Iti matya bhajanti imam buddha bhava samannit. One who knows Krishna, the Supreme, Adi Purusham, Adyam Purana Purusham, Navajauvanancha, his knowledge is perfect. If one thinks Krishna as one of the product of this material world, then his knowledge is imperfect. He is still in the darkness of this material creation. So, those who are in the darkness of this material creation, they consider Krishna as one of the human beings. As a great scholar says, when Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakta mad jajimang namaskuru, the scholar points out that it is not to Krishna. It is up to the inner soul which is within Krishna. There is no within and without Krishna. Krishna, as we have got difference between within and without, Krishna has no such difference. And though one who does not know, they think, such person thinks Krishna as one of the product of material creation. That is not the fact. Saividang sasajjagre bhagavanatmamayaya sadasat rupaya chasu gunamai aguna vibhu. Vibhu. He is vibhu, we are anu. That is the difference. Krishna is vibhu, unlimited. We are limited. So we cannot be equal to Krishna. The Mayavad philosophy that there is no difference between Jiva and Bhagavan. There is sufficient difference. He is Vibhu, we are Anu. Anoraniyang mahato maya. He is the greatest of the great. And he is the smallest also. So, Krishna cannot be equal, or nobody can be equal to Krishna or greater than Krishna. Krishna is asamartha. Nobody can be equal or greater than Krishna. Everyone is below Krishna. That is explained in the Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Ekola Ishara Krishna Arsa Bhrita. Only Krishna is the Supreme Master. Ekola Ishara Krishna Arsa Bhrita. Shiva Vrinchi Nutam. Even great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they also subordinate to Krishna. They offer their obeisances to Krishna. Shiva Vrinchi Nutam. And in the Brahma Samhita it is confirmed by Brahma, Ishara Parama Krishna. Ishara, everyone can be called Ishara. Ishara means controller. So, we are also controller of something. A businessman is controller of his business. I am controller of my disciples. There are so many controllers. So, in that sense, everyone is Ishara, in the sense of controller. But Lord Brahma says, Ishara Parama Krishna, the supreme controller. The supreme controller is Krishna. What is the difference between supreme controller and ordinary controller? Ordinary controller means that he controls and he is controlled, both. We are controller, but nobody can say that I am not controlled. We are controlled. But Krishna, he is controller but not controlled. That is the difference between Krishna and ourselves. So we cannot be equal with Krishna. We are controlled. I think in Glasgow, one boy, he was presenting himself as God. So I asked him whether you are controlled or not controlled. He admitted, yes, I am controlled. Then how he can be God? God is never controlled. God is controller, but he is not controlled. So if we take ourselves as so many samples of God, that is all right. But we are control God, not controller God. So that statement of Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Ekola Ishara Krishna, Arasa Bhrita, Jare Jaiche Nachaye Se Taiche Kare Nitya. We are controlled in every moment. So Krishna is Vibhu, we are Anu. Never consider that we are equal to Krishna. That is a great offense. That is called Maya. That is the last layer of Maya. Actually, we have come to this material world to become one with Krishna. We thought that we shall become like Krishna. Krishna bhuliya jeev bhogovancha kore. Pasete maya tare japotiya dhare. Because we wanted to become one with Krishna, to compete with Krishna, therefore we are put into this material world. Maya tare japotiya dhare. And here in this material world, it is going on. Everyone is trying to become Krishna. That is Maya. Everyone. First of all, let me become a big man, then let me become the minister, let me become the president. In this way, when everything fails, then let me march into the existence of God, that may let me become God. This is going on. This is material, struggle for existence. Everyone is trying to become Krishna. But our philosophy is different. We do not want to become Krishna. We are trying to become Krishna's servant. That is the difference between Mahabharata philosophy and Vaishnava philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us how to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Gopi bhattu padakamalayo daso daso dasanu das. The one, a person who is the lowest of the servant of Krishna, he is first class Vaishnava. He is first class Vaishnava. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore teaches us Tinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahisna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This is the Vaishnava philosophy. We are trying to be servant. We don't identify with anything material. As soon as we identify with anything material, we become under the clutches of Maya. Krishna bhuliya, because as soon as I forget my relationship with Krishna, I am eternal servant of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jiver Sarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. That is the eternal identification of the living entity, to remain servant of Krishna. As soon as we forget this, that is Maya. As soon as I think that I am Krishna, that is Maya. That Maya means this Maya, illusion, can be rejected by advancement of knowledge. That is Jnani. Jnani means this is real knowledge, to understand his real position. This is not knowledge that I am equal to God, I am God. This is not knowledge. I am God, but I am sample of God. But the Supreme God is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Arjuna accepted Krishna like that. Parabrahma, Paramdhama, Pavittam, Paramam Bhava. Parabrahma. We may become Brahma. We are Brahma. There is no question of becoming. Aham Brahmasmi, this is not very difficult to understand because I am spirit soul. So I am Brahma. That's all right. But I am not Parabrahma. That is ignorance. I am not Parabrahma. If anyone thinks that he is Parabrahma, then it must be understood that he is under the clutches of Maya. That is this last snare of Maya. Therefore, Krishna says that when one actually becomes knowledgeable, cognizant, he surrenders. Bhaunam janmanam antik jnanaman mangs prabhadat. That is real knowledge. So, advancement of knowledge means to understand his real position and act accordingly. That is knowledge. That is perfection of knowledge. Simply to understand that I am Brahma is not perfection. You have to still go further. Simply to understand that I am Brahma, I have now realized myself as Brahma, that is not perfection of knowledge. Brahma bhuta prasannatma. One who becomes realized soul, self-realized, he becomes immediately perfectly joyful because our all lamentation is due to our material identification. Sochati kankhat. We are simply lamenting for our loss and we are simply hankering for some gain. This is material activities. Everyone is struggling to gain something which he does not possess and is lamenting for something which he has lost. But when he realizes himself that I have nothing to gain and nothing to lose, I have nothing to do with this material, that is called Brahma Bhuta. That is Brahma realization. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Na sochati na kan. Samas sarveshu bhutesu. At that time he realizes that all living entities, they are spirit soul, pandita samadarshina. That is equal vision, not the bodily vision. So long we have got bodily vision, there cannot be any equality. That is not possible. When one sees only to the spiritual existence of a living entity, then there is question of seeing equally, equal vision, universal brotherhood. That is possible. Not on the bodily platform, that is not possible. So, after acquiring this knowledge, the life of devotional service begins. Brahma bhuta prasannatmana sochati na kankhati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti lavate param. That is required. And in that stage of devotional life, one can understand what is Krishna. Bhakta mama vijanati javan jaschami Krishna. Tattva. That is tattva understanding. In another place it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Evang prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. Unless one becomes jubilant, joyful, by executing devotional service, he cannot understand what is Krishna. It is not possible. So understand superficially Krishna, that he appeared in Mathura in his uncle's prison house. That is also nice. But one should try to understand Krishna in fact. That fact can be revealed by devotional service. You cannot challenge Krishna. Krishna will reveal. Sevanmukhi hi jivhado swayameva spuratvat. If we become sevanmukh, if we try to serve Krishna as eternal servant of Krishna, then Krishna will reveal himself, what he is. You cannot understand Krishna by speculation, by mental speculation. That is not possible. Atasya Krishna namadi na bhavet grahyam indriyai. By sense perception you cannot understand Krishna. That is not possible. There are many versions of the saintly person. Just like Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupo Raghunatho pade hoibe akuti, kobe hama bujhavo se jugala piriti. A saintly person, Acharya, like Narottam Das Thakur, he says that when I shall be very much eager to understand the path of the 6 Goswamis, এই ছয় গোসাই যার তার মুই দাস. We cannot understand Krishna unless we have submitted ourselves under the lotus feet of the 6 Goswamis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have to understand Krishna in this way. It is very difficult to understand Krishna. But by the grace of the Goswamis, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, we can understand Krishna. Athapiti deva padambujadayam prasada lesana grihita eva hi janati tattam nachana ekopi chirang vichinna. Panthas, there are many shastric evidences. Panthas tu koti satavassa sampragamma vayurathapi manaso munipangavana. So, by speculation we cannot understand Krishna. That is not possible. By mental speculation, we cannot understand Krishna. We have to understand Krishna as Krishna says, or Krishna's devotee says, the Goswami says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Then we can understand how this cosmic manifestation is created, who created, how it is created, everything will be clear. This is the beginning of such understanding. Saevedam sasajyagri bhagavan atmaya. Sadasat rupaya chasu gunamaya aguno vibhu. So, Krishna is transcendental, his position is always transcendental, Even though he appears before us, still he is transcendental. This is understanding of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada began the class with the concept of the impersonalist. They think that the creation is from an impersonal aspect, but actually they don't think that there is a person behind the creation. And this is a Mayavadi mentality. So what else Prabhupada said in relationship to that? He said he's personal. Before the creation he was there, and after the creation he's still there as a person. But he also doesn't accept a material body to enter this material world. Hare Krishna. This is, but the Mayavadi impersonalists, their concept, they think that God, he accepts a material body, and therefore is subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. What else Srila Prabhupada said? What else? Do you remember? Anything else that... Yes? Well, can you repeat again?
Prabhupada says that God is always transcendental. He existed before this creation, so he's not created. So even if he takes on a body that seems material to the mundane eye, it is not to be considered like that. His within and without is none different.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And what else Srila Prabhupada said? Yes? This is exercise for the brain. Try to remember.
Hare Krishna.
So that when we go home, we will take something with us in our pocket.
Yes, comparing the society as it appears impersonal, but behind the system there are people, there's governments, president or the king.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Thank you. And what else? Ataha Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavedgiram Indriyani. Prabhupada also said that with our dirty sense we cannot understand God, but only by bhakti we can understand Krishna. And that's how we enter into the kingdom of God. Bhakti Mama Vijanati, they mentioned that verse. So once we understand this, then we can understand the process of creation. The way Prabhupada round up the class was very interesting. What else? Anything else that Prabhupada? Yes?
Prabhupada says we have to understand God through the words of the Vaishnavas, the people who know him, by listening, and it can't be through mental speculation. He compares Mayavadi philosophers with Vaishnavism. He calls the Mayavadis materialists.
Yeah.
Because we came to this world because we want to be Krishna.
Yeah.
in the first place. And they're continuing this trend of trying to be Krishna. So that makes them material.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, he mentioned that we have to understand this concept that God is Vibhu and we are Anu. He's the greatest, we are the smallest. And it cannot be equaled, and nobody can be great or what else he said? Nobody can be greater than God or equal. Asama Urdhva, he mentioned the word Asama Urdhva, which means no one can be great or equal to God. But unfortunately, like you said, that everybody who is in this material world has this desire to become big, greater. And it starts with, they want to become prime minister, and then president, Prabhupada said. And then after that, it culminates, they want to become God, or even greater than God. So this is the nature of the false ego. It's always expanding. We are not, even if we merge into the impersonal aspect of Krishna, still we are not satisfied to become one with Him, but we want to come out and become greater than Him. But then, we cannot create. We cannot do what He does. So therefore, in terms of quality, we are failing. We don't have the goods. We don't have the qualification to be God. But he said the safest position, what is it at the end? To be a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Vaishnavas, of everyone. Even as a devotee, sometimes we think, I joined the temple. If I become servant of the devotees, that's very nice. I've achieved my perfection. But that's not enough. We have to become servant also of the non-devotees, those who are forgetting Krishna, servant of the materialist people. By serving them to stimulate their memory, who you are, where you come from, you have a connection with someone, where you want to go after you die. So, in other words, we serve them by preaching. And that's why the dearest devotee of Krishna is someone who gets out of the temple and serve his devotees. They are forgotten devotees. So we should always remember that. Just Vaishnav doesn't mean servant of the, but servant of the servant of the servant. It means servant of everyone. That's what Prabhupada did. He came to serve. There was no devotees in America. He didn't come to serve devotees. He came to serve karmi. And then they became devotees. Yes?
Consciousness, no? Something like this.
What did he say?
I think Prabhupada was using the term universal brotherhood consciousness.
Yes,
in this.
universal brotherhood consciousness. Yeah, we are all connected because Krishna is in the heart of everyone. And therefore we are brothers and sisters. And he's our original Ahambija Pradapita, original father, the one who creates creation and the humanity. You want to add anything, Prabhuji?
I mean, Prabhupada mentions, and it's nice how Prabhupada pulls again and again verses from Gita. Although, he's well versed in so many scriptures, but then again and again he pulls out the evidence from Gita. And sometimes we see Gita as a ABC book, but again and again when I read his books throughout Bhagavatam, you see he pulls out Gita verses to prove the point. Like, for example, he's speaking about the spiritual world, and then he quotes Yad Katva Nani Vartante Tad Dhamma Paramam Mama. it says that, there is also a spiritual world beside material world. And again in Gita, I was just thinking today when I was reading through and listening to the class, how again and again he pulls out Gita verses to prove us that Gita is our main book. Everything is there, and more you advance, more you go deeper, you'll find more and more and more.
Yeah. He
Into
said
Gita.
this material world is created, but the spiritual world is sanatana, is not created. It's always existed. It's always manifested, but we can't see with our senses. But material world, it comes into manifest and non-manifest. Creation, annihilation. But the living entity and the spirit, that's why we belong to the sanatana, to the eternal, a spirit soul. But the body and the world and the creation, they are manifested and then they are annihilated. In 50 years' time, this body is gone, disappears, becomes dust. Just like, before I was born, where was my body? My soul was somewhere else, but my body was not manifested. So Krishna gives a new body. So he let us play with all these toys, building, destroying, a new body, and then another one, and the life goes on in this material world, in the 8,400,000 species of life. And how did the Prabhupada close the class? What did he say at the end? Do you remember? Yes. Prabhupada always wraps up the class, with you're allowed to see on your phone. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, we close it. Thank you very much.